Welcome back to the science of biotechnology. In the last class, we have discussed about biotechnology, its principle and processes. In today's class, we shall be seeing the applications of biotechnology. Anyway, let us go to a brief review of what we have studied in the last class. So, by definition we say biotechnology is the technique of using live organisms or enzymes from organisms or part of the organisms to produce products and processes useful to humans. If you remember, we discussed about old biotechnology and modern biotechnology. If we go to the modern biotechnology, we shall see there is a process recombinant DNA technology or genetic engineering, whereby we engineer microorganisms, plants and animals so as to get beneficial products from them, and these products are mostly useful to human beings. So, we shall be discussing specifically under these headings. Today's topic we shall cover with genetically modified crops for agriculture. If we go to Indian concern, we shall see the rising population of our country and simultaneously depleting land resources that is feeding us. So, we have to have methods whereby we shall have more productivity, that is rate of production from the existing land, and quality products that we shall get from agriculture. Quality product, what I mean, must be nutritious. It should be having more nutrition than traditionally and normally existing in them. So, we use biotechnology, genetically modified crops that will produce more, that will produce quality products, and that will also feed the growing population. Then comes therapeutics. If we see the basic requirements, our basic requirements are food, followed by our health, and then the lifestyle. If we go to the health aspects, with inventions and discoveries going on, specifically in the field of biological sciences, biophysics, biochemistry, etc., we develop new and new techniques to understand what is behind a disease, and then to develop a medicine that is going to cure the disease without much side effects. We have also developed diagnostic using these biotechnological tools like ELISA kit, whereby we can find out if someone is suffering from a retroviral infection. We shall go for RT-PCR tests, whereby very small amount of RNA can be found from a infected person, and then we can be also detecting the type of infection which is prevailing inside the body by using another tool that we say the bioinformatics. Then we shall go to the next beneficiary aspect in processed food. We shall deal with in detail about the processed food, that may be cheese, that may be anything which are being kept as processed. Bioremediation, one very important thing to keep us clean. With increased population, with our lifestyle, we are polluting our environment more and more. If we want to have a safe, clean living, we have to go for bioremediation, whereby we shall use genetically modified microbes, genetically modified plants that will keep the environment clean by withdrawing substances from this polluted environment. Every day we are producing a lot of waste, that may be industrial waste, that may be waste from our home or domestic wastes. So, these wastes are again being treated by these modified organisms. You may ask me why modified organisms, because each normal organism has a limitation. If we want to get more work done and simplify the process of decomposition, then we have to modify it a bit, and that can be done biotechnologically. Then we can also produce energy using biotechnology, we shall be discussing in detail subsequently. So, we shall be discussing our topic today using the recombinant DNA technology with microbes, recombinant DNA technology with the plants, and recombinant DNA technology with animals. In addition to that, we shall be also discussing about the bioethics, biopiracy, etc., depending upon the time available to us. So, we shall start with the basic thing, biotechnological applications in agriculture. I have already introduced you. Today we require quality food, more food, but from less space available. So, we have to have techniques whereby plants can be grown wherever, whatever type of land is available. We have to have organisms that can grow in any adverse condition. You know, our warehouses are getting filled with the labor of our farmers, but if you see 10 to 20% of our products are wasted by the rodents. If we can prevent the menace of rodents like mice, rat, etc., then we could have saved 20% of our crop, which are being produced using a lot of human resources and other inputs. Similarly, when we think of a plant is not normally producing things. They are also affected with several diseases. These diseases may be fungal, these diseases may be from bacteria, viruses, or from other insects and things. Okay. Simultaneously, when we also go for cultivation, we shall see the crop is infested with a lot of pests. We combine the word pest, which includes insects, different stages of development it passes normally through, that may be pupa, that may be larvae, etc. So, people thought over here, if a modified plant can be produced, a genetically modified plant can be produced, which is giving a condition whereby any insect larva feeding on that will die without damaging the plant. Then comes the third, scientists have come to the toxin from a bacillus thuringiensis. So, this bacillus produce a toxin by a gene CRY. Some people also refer to as BT gene. Now, this gene produce a protein by transcription and subsequently by translation, and these proteins, when fed by the pests or larvae of different insects, then they will die. So, this toxin is a gene product. So, what we have done? We have taken the gene from bacillus, the bacteria, successfully incorporated into the host plant, the DNA. Okay. So, we shall suppose we say it is the DNA, one of the DNA of the host plant, then it is incorporated here. Suppose we say it is been incorporated here, which is successfully expressing in the formation of the toxin, that is a protein. So, under this condition what happens? If we have a biotechnologically modified plant that will produce cotton, but it is having the CRY gene, which is a foreign gene inside it, then we shall see it is going not to be affected by the pests. So, under that condition we shall have no infection and the production will go by 30%. Using the same principle, subsequently we have used Bt brinjal, then Bt crops. So, each of these crop will have some toxins that will be fed when it will be infected by the pest, and the pest will automatically be eliminated. Similarly, if you have gone to a cropland, you will find along with the crop plant a lot of herbs will come, Under that condition, what we do, it is not possible manually to remove these herbs, which are not useful to us. Then what we do is, we shall be spraying some herbicides, we shall also spray some pesticides to get rid of the pests infecting these crops. So, when we target these specific herbs we are interested, simultaneously these herbicide also affects the crop plants. When we are targeting the pests, when we are targeting an insect which is an animal also, that is also going to have effect on the host plant. So, there we have to develop some sort of resistance, some sort of tolerance within the plants, so that even if the crop plant is sprayed with herbicide, the crop plant will not die. So, here what they do is, they are developing pest tolerant plants, similarly herbicide tolerant plants. So, the principle is same. We shall find out a plant having this tolerant genes. Normal, we have some sort of genes present inside the plants which can react to an adverse condition. When some stress is applied to these plants, we shall see that stress will be ultimately expressed in terms of a protein. Now, if we see that there is existence of a protein, then we shall be sure that there is presence of a gene. Then if we are successful in taking out these genes, incorporate into the crop plants, then we shall have pest tolerant plants and herbicide tolerant plants. And when we spray this with this, when we spray this with actually these plants, the target organisms will be eliminated, but the plants will not be, the crop plants will not be affected. You know, India is having a vast coastline. Okay. We have ocean all around the southern side, and the beautiful land, plain land in many of these areas are often inundated with water from the ocean, and you know, water of ocean are rich in salt, and when these are affected or flooded with saline water, salinity of the soil increases. When salinity increases, then the soil gradually becomes less and less fertile, and that ultimately becomes unsuitable for any cultivation. So, we thought over that, and techniques are developed so that we have plants tolerant to this stress, this salt stress. There are also areas in our country, in the world also, there are deserts where there is less supply of water. We have drought prone areas. Okay. So, whatever be the stress, I have already told you, when there is a stress, the plant responds to the stress with expression of proteins. When we are successful in seeing the protein expressed as a response to a specific stress, then we shall say there must be a gene that is responding to this. Then we have to take out the gene, successfully put it into a host plant, mostly the crop plants, then there is very possibility of development of the stress resistant plants. And actually we have developed plants which are resistant to all this stress. So, this is a beautiful thing that has been done by the scientists so far, and this is a contribution of biotechnology. Similarly, we shall see golden rice. You must have heard about golden rice. The rice plant is having additional vitamins we see that is being given along with the normal ones. So, this is very useful, and what we do with the same amount of food we eat, we shall have more vitamins and other things than the normal ones. So, students, we have discussed most of the aspects excepting one, that is post harvest loss reduction. I have told you that often we are losing a good percentage of the total produce which is given by our farmers to us. Like when we reap the tomato, we reap fruits, it has to be used within very short span of time, otherwise these are getting spoiled. So, to avoid that, there is genetically modified crops, fruits, etc., which can resist to these conditions. They can remain intact for a good span of time, so that the fruits from Kashmir can travel to Kanyakumari or from Kanyakumari to Kashmir. Well, then we shall come to the next aspect. The nutritional value of food has to be increased by putting the specific biomolecules we are interested in. Like I was telling you, golden rice is rich in vitamin A. Okay. Vitamin A is not common to rice, but if we can have vitamin A from rice, it is wonderful. So, with the same amount of food we eat, we can have better nutrition. So, these are also used to create alternative resources in terms of fuels, pharmaceuticals, edible vaccines, edible antibiotics, and edible interferons. These molecules, some of these molecules we were taking in terms of injection, and now we have come to a condition where these are being produced with banana. Suppose we eat banana, the banana is having some antibiotics produced in them, and once we eat that banana, we do not have to eat antibiotics separately. Sometimes when we give medicines to a patient, they become so fed up with medicine and with its side effects, they refuse to have these medicines, injections. So, when we resort to these conditions, it becomes very convenient for them. So, with these things we go for an agricultural field used by the biotechnologist, whereby we have more production, quality production, less pollution and all. Then we shall go to the next topic, application of biotechnology in medicine. Everyone by now know about the genetically engineered insulin. Previously, insulin was produced from the slaughterhouses. We were taking insulin from animal sources. When animals are sacrificed for whatever purpose it may be, we were taking out insulin from them, and that was purified and bottled and supplied to us. But subsequently, we were successful in separating the humulin gene that is responsible for synthesis of these two simple polysaccharides joined by disulfide bonds, and we were able to produce this in microbes, genetically modified microbes, and now everybody is getting vegetarian insulin. There is also a gene therapy. Some people are born with defective genes and they suffer from diseases. One of these is a serious blood disorder. So, actually what they do is they take these genetically modified molecules which are not been produced within the blood of the patients, they inject it in them and they are getting rid of this particular problem. Then we shall go to the molecular diagnostics, where we use polymerase chain reactions PCR technology. I have already referred this for the detection of COVID-19 virus, RT-PCR. Recombinant DNA technology, this produces molecules which are being used in antigen antibody related kits, whereby we take a drop of blood and know whether there is presence of a particular virus or a bacteria or any sort of infection that has caused a disease in us. ELISA, that is the enzyme linked immunoservant assay, is very well used in detecting the HIV. Then there is stem cell technology. We know that there are cells within the animals which are responsible in development of a special cell line, ultimately developing to organs. Scientists have come to a position to develop special tissues from these stem cells. They engineer them, they get the cells, and these cells can be used for treatment of damaged organs. And there is also possibility in future for development organs outside the animal bodies. So, we shall take some amount of stem cells and a heart can be developed from them that can replace a heart. But the thing is, we cannot proceed a lot with the human one because of ethical problems. Suppose we take a embryo, human embryo, sacrifice it for the purpose of research, that is nothing less than murdering a man for research purpose, which some people say ethically wrong. So, this type of things have prevented a lot of development in this field. However, we shall come to a condition whereby without damaging some life, we shall have a system whereby cell lines, stem cells can be used for our benefit. As we have already discussed about the transgenic plants, we have also transgenic microorganisms or genetically engineered microorganisms. These genetically engineered microorganisms are living factory for the production of proteins. It is easy to manipulate the bacterial genome, the yeast genome, whereby we can put, or we easily can engineer these genomes. We can put foreign and desired genes inside their genome and produce substances which are very useful to us. So, genetically engineered E. coli produce bovine growth hormones. These growth hormones are injected to cows to increase the milk production, also beef output. We have production of interferons which will fight against the viral infections. We shall have production of specific proteins which are used in the form of drugs. We genetically modify microorganisms which are capable of working on oil spills. When there is an oil spill in an ocean, when there is leakage from big ships transporting this oil, or there is an accident and there is a lot of oil spill, we are able to physically take some of the oil from there, and whatever remains are being treated with genetically modified microorganisms which act upon them, decompose them and purify the environment. Similarly, we use some of the amino acids produced within the microorganisms in the form of fuels. We have production of amino acids, we have production of fuel molecules which contribute more towards the fuel shortage. These are also used in paper industries, in the production of vaccines, in the production of antibiotics and many other things. So, by now we have completed the use of microorganisms for benefit of man which are genetically modified. So, students, we have discussed about the biotechnological applications of plants and microorganisms. Now, we shall discuss about the transgenic animals and their use. When we modified the animals by introduction of some sort of foreign gene in their cells, then we shall term them and as transgenic animals. Animals whose DNA is manipulated to possess and express a foreign gene is a transgenic animal. These transgenic animals are used for study of normal physiology and developmental studies like the growth factors, etc. You must have seen a very small man or women around you. They have everything normal excepting they are very small in size, maximum 3 feet in their height or even less than that. We commonly say that dwarfism. At very early stage, there is shortage of a growth hormone in them that cannot be produced by their body, that result them in making them dwarf. So, if we can detect it early and we treat them with these hormones, growth hormones, which is responsible for growth of this child, then we may be successful in taking him or her to a normal condition. And to develop models to study the growth factors inside the body, the genetically modified animals play a very important role. Then we shall come to the point study of diseases. There are many genetic diseases which we find in human like cancer, cystic fibrosis, arthritis, Alzheimer's disease, which are very critical diseases. And if we see these are genetic ones and we can early detect them, then at very early stage of their development, we can go for some treatment and there can be some cure for these dreaded diseases. Then we shall go for the next item, biological products. Transgenic animals are produced for useful products like human proteins, alpha 1 antitrypsin to treat a disease emphysema. Similarly, we make modifications in the genome of cows that will produce specific proteins required by specific diseased persons. Okay. Then we can also go for checking the safety of vaccines in humans. Okay. So, actually when we go for development of a vaccine, we cannot go to human trials directly. Normally, we try them with microbes, then come to mice and rats, then to monkeys, and finally, we go for human trial. By the time we reach the human trial, we reach at a stage whereby we are sure that it is not going to have a lot of side effect, because the human volunteer who is going to be tried is also a human being. So, we have developed transgenic animals which are genetically modified, who will respond to a particular problem very early with minimal dose. Under a normal circumstance, these animal systems will not react that bad, but with a genetically modified organism that will react with these particular toxins or proteins or any medicine that we can go for trial purpose. So, the next and the last I want to discuss is chemical safety testing. This is also referred to as toxicity or safety assessment or testing. It is more or less like the vaccine testing. Transgenic animals are developed with genes by which they are very sensitive to toxic substances, and hence they will show sensitivity towards this toxicity in very less time. And once we see that a particular molecule is toxic to these animals, that is also going to be toxic to the humans subsequently. So, this has given us ample scope to examine medicines, to try medicines, to try different proteins we produce transgenically. We try different toxicants that can act upon the human ones. Then we shall go for one aspect, that the transgenic organisms in general act upon. That is an important aspect, bioremediation and waste treatment. This I have already told you in brief, but I want to emphasize this, because transgenic organisms are produced to remove contaminants and pollutants from water and soil. Contaminants may be herbicides, contaminants may be pesticides, contaminants may be refrigerant, contaminants may be different molecules. So, microbes are developed which can act upon these contaminants with specific enzymes produced by the transgenes or the genes which come from foreign organisms and introduced into these organisms. They will produce these enzymes which are not common to them, which enzymes will catalyze the reactions which can act upon the contaminants, then modify them or decompose them without much damage to the environment. This helps in removal of contaminants from the environment. Industrial, domestic wastes are being treated by genetically modified decomposers, which are very useful. Everybody discusses about biofuels, whether we know or not. Now, the petrol we buy, the diesel we buy are mixed with ethanol and biodiesel. You see, by adding ethanol, which is produced inside the industries of our country, biodiesels which are produced as alternative to fossil fuels are produced inside the country and go up to 10%. So, bioethanol is produced from organic matter by fermentation by genetically modified organism, and this ethanol, when is mixed with petroleum, we do not have any problem in running the vehicles. Even no consumer know by now that there is addition of bioethanol, but what we have seen, there is a lot of foreign currencies saved by this process. So, we get this ethanol from many damaged crop products and some plant products, and also get these oils from the oil producing seeds and plants. Genetically modified organisms are also used for best of extraction of oil from non-edible oil producing plant parts. So, by the normal process of deriving oil from these plant parts, either seeds or fruits, etc., we shall be able to get these components from the plant parts with use of genetically modified microbes. Now, we shall come to some important aspects of biotechnology, that is about the ethical issues. So, what is ethical issues? Research on genetic modification of organisms may produce some bad effects. We have used Bt cotton, good, it has produced textiles, there is almost no effect on human with the use of cotton produced from Bt cotton plants. But if we are having Bt brinjal and the brinjal we use a lot, then there is possibility that the proteins, the carbohydrates, etc., that we shall be using from these biotechnologically modified or genetically modified crop plants may enter into our body continuously, and there may be accumulation of a molecule or two inside our body that may be damaging our genetic system, which may produce disastrous effect in future. So, before introduction of these genetically modified plants into the market, a lot of research and for very long duration this research should be brought about. We reach at a point where we produce a particular molecule and immediately start using this is not advisable. It is never advisable because we do not know any effect by now. Human has not evolved in a year or two or 100 years or 200 years. We have evolved in terms of millions of years, and we do not know what will happen if such modifications are brought about in the plants, which has taken very long time for their evolution with manipulation in their genetic system. So, the scientific community has established ethics committees who will go through these issues, and there is also a committee set up by Government of India, that we say Genetic Engineering Approval Committee, for making decisions regarding the validity of genetically modified research or biotechnological research which is producing GM organisms, and they decide after due consideration that whether some genetically modified organisms can be introduced in public service. But we have to be very serious. This is not a decision to be taken in one sitting or two sitting in just seeing the papers, because some unscrupulous company may give us wrong information, wrong data that may be very damaging. You see, some biotechnological giants have produced some genetically modified plants, and they are introducing in India, because most of our farmers are not conscious about this. Even some of them do not know what type of seed they are cultivating, if these are having genetically modified seeds or plants they are cultivating in their fields. This may give them some benefits, but there is always possibility that some genetic modifications they bring about may damage the traditional cultivation, traditional seeds and traditional varieties they are cultivating. We have to be very careful about this. Ethical issues also arise from patents obtained by companies which are intellectual property right of others. So, without taking proper permission, without giving them financial benefits, some unscrupulous individuals and companies, they patent certain things which are intellectual property rights of us, like that has happened with basmati rice. Basmati rice is indigenous to India. We have been cultivating it since time immemorial. We have thousands of varieties of rice. We have a lot of indigenous knowledge that we use in cultivation, their medicinal use, etc. So, without informing us, they have patented them and they have started taking benefits of them. So, we were discussing about the ethical issues when some company for their financial benefit is not informing us, taking permission from us, they take our intellectual property right and use it, patent it and use it, derive financial benefit from this. This is going to create problem. So, most important aspect of this is we have to have all our intellectual property rights well recorded, which is not been done in India. So, the priority in our country should be in having these recorded as per provisions, so that it will be easy for us to adjudicate it in international bodies to disputes arising out of these. Then one of the important thing is biopiracy. The practice of commercially exploiting naturally occurring biochemical or genetic material, especially by obtaining patents that restrict its future use while failing to pay fair compensation to the community from which it originates, is referred to as biopiracy. There are a lot of practices we find in among the tribals, their use of plants in as medicines for treatment of ailments which is restricted to them is now exploited. So, people just go them, giving them some sort of financial benefit or something which is just far less than what they are supposed to get. They take the knowledge from them, use them and get it patented. So, such piracy should be stopped, that causes actually draining of the traditional knowledge our country is rich with. So, if at all this is to go, this should go with fair compensation to these people. And here also everyone, starting from the academicians, the biotechnologists, the scholars, students, conscious citizens have to play an important role. So, students, I have very briefly discussed about the biotechnological applications. So, we shall go for a brief review of what we have discussed today. So, the very beginning we have discussed about what is biotechnology, particularly the modern biotechnology, and specifically we refer to the recombinant DNA technology. In brief, I shall say that when we take a piece of DNA which make a gene from one organism and use this gene for production of the protein it is producing, okay, by the process of transcription and translation has to be. So this is, suppose this is the normal DNA, we have clipped it with use of restriction endonuclease, then introduce this piece of foreign gene in this, use the ligase, seal these ends and get a recombinant molecule, okay, suppose we indicate like this, and then transform microorganisms, plants or animals, then we shall see that this is becoming genetically modified. So, a genetically modified plant is having a foreign gene, suppose a gene from an animal which is expressing in it. The most important thing is that this genetically modified organism has to express, and expression of gene, you know, gene expression is nothing but expression in terms of production of proteins. So, if a protein is produced, then this is successful. This is number one. The second aspect what we discussed is we have production of recombinant microbes, which is mostly used for production of proteins, for production of antibiotics, for production of vaccines, hormones, etc. Because this is easy to handle, because we can very easily handle them, and under controlled condition in bioreactors, okay, in bioreactors we shall have a lot of culture, and with introduction of these genetically modified microbes we can get the produce we are interested for. Then we shall go for processing of that, harvest the molecules and then process them. Then comes the genetically modified plants. So, genetically modified plants can be for resistance to pests, resistance to herbicides, resistance to physical conditions like salt tolerance. These plants will be tolerant to salt stress, drought stress, etc. And then we have also plants which will have products which can sustain for a longer time. We know fruits produced are the perishable items which perish very soon. So, we give better life to them. Then we shall come to the third one, genetically modified animals, and these genetically modified animals are used for many purposes. First, we have to understand our own system. They help us in understanding our own system. The hormones responsible for our growth, hormones responsible for different activities at different times, then toxicity testing, testing of the vaccines, etc. These genetically modified animals are playing a very important role. Then last but not least, we shall say these genetically modified organisms are used for a lot of benefits. I have in my introduction told you that this is biotechnology is dealing with techniques which is finally producing substances or things, products which are useful to human beings. So, we always work for the human benefits. So, we shall go for more production of crop. So, once we have more production, we shall fight against hunger. We have more production, so there will be no one remaining hungry in the world. Then we have quality production that will give quality to human being, so they can have a qualitative life. It helps in diagnosis, it helps in treatment, and our life will be better and better with more and more contribution from biotechnology. Thank you, students. Go through this. This is going to give you a wonderful future. Thank you all once again.